Your life doesn't change by accident. It changes by decisions. And the right daily decisions will always create the right destiny. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say this loud and clear. You are not a mistake. You were born for a purpose. But purpose is not fulfilled in convenience. Purpose is fulfilled in discipline, in vision, and in habits. Too many people are praying for a breakthrough while refusing to change their daily routine. You don't need magic. You need a system. You need to wake up with clarity, walk with intention, and move with conviction. Let me ask you, what are you doing daily that guarantees you won't remain where you are? Because if you can do these 5 things every single day, your life will not only change, it will evolve into the masterpiece it was designed to be. Not in 10 years, starting now. Start with silent clarity, start with silent clarity. The way you begin your day determines the rhythm, the flow, and the direction of everything that follows. The first 10 minutes of your day are not just minutes. They are moments of alignment, moments when your mind, your emotions, and your spirit come into agreement. But what do most people do? They grab their phone, scroll through chaos, compare their life to a stranger's highlight reel, and wonder why they feel anxious before breakfast. That's not clarity. That's clutter. You cannot download peace from an app. You have to create it in silence. That moment you wake up, before you speak to anyone, before you check anything, sit still. Breathe. Let your own voice speak louder than the noise of the world. Because your clarity comes from within, not from the confusion around you. Imagine walking into a meeting with no agenda, no objective, and no idea what success looks like. You'd waste everyone's time. But that's exactly what people do with their day. They wake up with no intention, no mental target, no spiritual direction. So life keeps happening to them instead of through them. You've got to reclaim the first 10 minutes as sacred. That's when your mind is most open. That's when your focus is freshest. That's when your heart is most honest. Clarity doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing less, but doing it on purpose. In those first 10 minutes, ask yourself, what am I building today? What deserves my full attention? What must I protect my mind from? And even more importantly, who do I need to become today to be in alignment with the future I want? You can't talk about success but prepare for chaos. You can't expect peace but open your morning with confusion. If you want to change your life, change your first thought of the day. Instead of starting your day reacting to the world, start by responding to your calling. Think of a GPS. It only gives you the right directions after it knows your current location and your destination. That's what clarity does. It reminds you where you are and where you're headed. And once you lock in those 2 points, you stop wasting time. You stop entertaining nonsense. You stop getting emotionally hijacked by what doesn't serve you. Let me give you an example. There was a young woman who always felt drained by midday. She said no matter how much she tried to be positive, her energy was gone by 11 a.m. I asked her one question. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? She said, check my notifications. I said, there's your leak. Before she could even greet herself, her mind was hijacked by noise. Group chats, bad news, Instagram drama, deadlines, expectations, stress. No wonder her soul was exhausted. So I gave her one task: spend the first 10 minutes of every day in silence. No phone, no people. Just sit, just breathe, just be. After 7 days, she said, I feel like I own my day now. I feel stronger, calmer, more focused. And I told her that's what silent clarity does. It centers you before the world can scatter you. Even the most powerful engines don't run 24/7. They warm up before they move. You need to warm up your spirit before you start running into the demands of life. You're not just a machine. You are a vessel of purpose. And if you start your day full of noise, full of tension, full of distractions, then you will react all day long. But if you start in peace, you respond with power. You don't need a new year to change your life. You need a new morning routine. The miracle you're waiting for is hidden in your first 10 minutes. Use it to declare your intentions. Use it to visualize your success. Use it to remind yourself of what you've already overcome. Because when you start your day in alignment, the rest of the day obeys that energy. Listen, if the beginning is chaotic, the middle will be stressful, and the end will be frustrating. But if the beginning is intentional, the middle is productive, and the end is satisfying. So make silence your strategy. Make clarity your ritual. You don't need a perfect life. You need a clear one. And that starts the moment you open your eyes and choose to tune into your vision, not your notifications. The most dangerous thing about noise is that it numbs you. It numbs your instincts. It numbs your goals. It numbs your discernment. But silence sharpens you. It brings things into focus. It reminds you of your why when the world tries to drown you in its how. If you don't fight for your focus, life will steal it. But if you claim your clarity every morning, no situation, no distraction, no unexpected chaos can pull you off purpose. Because you didn't start with confusion. You started with command. You commanded your day before it had a chance to control you. Speak your identity. Daily declarations, speak your identity. Because the most powerful voice in your life is not your mother's, not your friends, not your boss's. It's your own. What you say about yourself is what your mind believes. And what your mind believes, your body begins to act out. Every single day, you are telling your future what to prepare for. The question is, are you commanding it with power or are you cursing it with doubt? People wake up and immediately say things like, I'm so tired, today's going to be rough, or I just hope I survive this week. And then they wonder why the day feels heavy, why their energy is off, why nothing flows right. Listen to me. Your words are agreements, and every time you speak carelessly, you're signing a contract with mediocrity. You don't just describe your life with your words, you design it. Life doesn't give you what you hope for. It gives you what you expect with conviction. And expectation comes from repeated self-talk. That's why you must build a routine around declaring who you are, out loud, unapologetically, consistently. There's power in saying, I am focused. There's power in saying, I am disciplined. There's power in saying, I am a magnet for divine strategy and wise connections. Because when you say it, your brain starts finding proof. Your eyes open to new doors. Your energy begins to match the words. You start walking into rooms differently. Not looking for approval, but bringing clarity. Not asking for permission, but carrying identity. Think about a seed. You can plant it in good soil, give it water and sunlight. But if you walk past it every day saying, you'll never grow, or you're probably going to die here, do you think it will thrive? No. Because even nature responds to belief. Now think about yourself. How can you grow into your destiny if every morning you declare defeat? Your words build your world. And this is where people miss it. They think affirmations are cheesy. They think speaking over themselves is weird. But the truth is, everyone already has an internal script playing. You're already affirming something. You're either affirming fear, lack, and regret, or you're affirming power, purpose, and destiny. There was a young man I once mentored. Every time he spoke, he ended his sentences with uncertainty. He'd say things like, I guess I'm not good at that, or I don't know if I'll ever get out of this place. And his life followed that script, stuck, confused, overlooked. So I gave him one assignment. For the next 21 days, he had to start every morning by saying 10 powerful affirmations in the mirror. At first, he said it felt weird. But after 1 week, his posture changed. His voice got stronger. His eyes lit up. He said, I don't know what's happening, but I feel like I'm finally remembering who I am. He wasn't remembering a version of himself that others expected. He was remembering his real identity, the one buried under years of negative language and low expectations. And all it took was consistent declaration. You don't have to feel confident to speak confidently. Sometimes the words come before the belief. But if you say it long enough, your mind starts to align with it. Your actions follow it. Your reality begins to mold around it. People spend hours repeating lies that were spoken over them. You're not smart enough. You're too late. You'll never recover from that. And they rehearse that script for years. But what if you decided starting today to rewrite the script? What if your first thought in the morning wasn't, I can't handle this, but I'm prepared for whatever comes? What if instead of saying, I never win, you said, I'm rising into favor, strategy, and strength? Your voice would become your rescue. A woman I know was told for years that she wasn't good enough. Her relationships, her job, even her parents made her feel invisible. But one day, she wrote down a list of affirmations and started reading them every single day, sometimes through tears. I am valuable. I am seen. I am strong. I have something to offer. 6 months later, her job changed. Her energy shifted. People began to treat her differently. Why? Because she wasn't speaking from her wounds anymore. She was speaking from her worth. You teach the world how to treat you by how you treat yourself. And how you treat yourself starts with how you talk to yourself. So don't just wake up and stumble through the day. Wake up and remind yourself, I'm not average. I am chosen. I am equipped. I have favor that opens doors no man can close. I don't chase. Opportunity flows to me because I am aligned with purpose. Speak it. Shout it if you have to. Whisper it until it becomes a roar inside you. Every time you declare who you are, your fear gets weaker. Your past gets smaller, and your future gets closer. Speak life until your voice becomes a weapon. Speak truth until your mind forgets every lie. Speak destiny until even your environment has to shift. Because if your mouth is not working for your future, it's working against it. Schedule growth, protect learning time, and schedule your growth, because greatness is never an accident. You do not stumble into success. You don't trip and fall into excellence. You build it. And the most dangerous lie life ever told you is that someday things will magically change. Someday. No, nothing changes until you schedule it. Nothing grows until it's placed in time, on purpose, with intention. And if it's not on your calendar, it's not a commitment, it's a wish. Every day you wake up, life gives you 24 blank checks called hours. You decide how to spend them. You can either invest them into your future or waste them on distractions disguised as urgency. But hear this clearly, if you don't control your time, something or someone else will. You say you want to grow. You say you want to become the best version of yourself. Then show me your schedule. Because your schedule is the mirror of your priorities. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your system is built inside your daily routine. You don't get strong by accident, you schedule your strength. You don't become wise by hoping, you schedule learning. You don't become a disciplined person just because you feel motivated. You schedule discipline by making space for it when you don't feel like it. I once asked a young man who said he wanted to be a leader, how much time do you spend each day learning to lead? He blinked. He had no answer. I told him, you're not waiting on a breakthrough, you're waiting on a routine. Because growth without structure becomes chaos. Your mind needs rhythm. Your body needs rhythm. Your spirit needs rhythm. The reason most people never evolve is because they're too emotionally reactive to build structure. Every day is different. Every moment is unpredictable. They float through time, carried by crisis, not commitment. And you can't lead a powerful life when you're always responding to the world instead of commanding your own development. Think of an athlete. Do they only train when they feel like it? Do they only stretch when their body sends a memo? No, they train on a schedule because they understand that mastery is not a mood, it's a method. You've got to have a method for growing. You've got to protect time for your growth like it's sacred. Because it is. There's a woman I worked with who kept saying, I just don't have time to read, to study, to reflect. I'm too busy. I told her, you're not too busy, you're unorganized. You don't need more hours. You need better focus. We took her calendar and found 2 30-minute pockets a day she wasted scrolling social media and worrying about things she couldn't control. She turned that into growth time, reading, journaling, listening to wisdom. 90 days later, her mindset changed. Her confidence grew. She walked differently. Not because life changed, but because her schedule started serving her purpose. You schedule what you care about. You don't forget lunch because your body reminds you when it's hungry. But your mind and your spirit, they're starving. And nobody hears the hunger. That's why so many people feel stuck. Because they feed everything and everyone else while starving the very part of them that holds their potential. Your growth is not a luxury. It's a necessity. You can't keep praying for new levels while keeping old habits. You have to give your future time on your calendar. I know people who spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning their evolution. More time coordinating outfits than building their mindset. And then they wonder why they look successful but feel unfulfilled. Because activity is not the same as progress. Movement doesn't mean growth. You can spin in circles for 12 hours and still be in the same place. So what if, instead of hoping for transformation, you began structuring it, you set 45 minutes every morning just for you, to think, to learn, to reflect, to refine? What if you had a power hour blocked on your phone every evening where no distractions were allowed? Just time to grow your gift, right vision. You'd start noticing the shift. Your emotions would calm. Your energy would rise. Your clarity would sharpen. Because growth has a frequency and you finally tuned into it. Let me tell you something that changed my life. Discipline is more loving than inspiration. Inspiration will make you feel good today. Discipline will make you great tomorrow. And the most loving thing you can do for your future self is to schedule the investment. Schedule the reading. Schedule the learning. Schedule the solitude. Schedule the sacrifice. Because when it's scheduled, it becomes real. When it's written down, it's no longer optional. It's a covenant with your next level. Success is never random. It is deliberate. It is intentional. It is scheduled. So if you want to rise, don't just dream it, block the time for it. Set the alarm. Create the space. Build the rhythm. Because until it's on your calendar, it's still just a fantasy. And fantasies don't change the world. Schedules do. Master your environment. Cut the noisy. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your mentor in disguise. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to develop you. But most people run from it. They avoid the stretch, dodge the pressure, and retreat at the first sign of resistance. What they don't understand is that comfort zones are beautiful places, but nothing grows there. If your life feels stale, stagnant, predictable, it's likely because you've stopped allowing yourself to be challenged. And where there is no challenge, there is no change. Discomfort is the gym where your purpose is trained. You don't build muscle by lifting feathers. You build it by feeling the burn, by reaching the point of failure and pushing one more time. The same is true for your mind, your spirit, your character. You grow by confronting what's uncomfortable, by stepping into spaces that demand more from you than you think you have to give. That's where transformation lives. People say they want success. They say they want to become powerful, impactful, extraordinary. But then they avoid every room, every task, every conversation that requires them to grow. You can't become exceptional if you're addicted to ease. You can't rise while holding on to routines that keep you small. Growth is violent to your comfort. It shakes your patterns, exposes your weaknesses, stretches your limits. And that's exactly what makes it beautiful. There was a young man who had a dream of becoming a public speaker, but he stuttered. Every time he got up to speak, anxiety strangled his voice. So he avoided opportunities. He sat in the back. He said, "It's just not my time yet." But the truth was he feared the discomfort of stumbling in public. One day I told him, "You don't need another breakthrough. You need to be broken open by practice." I challenged him to speak every week. Small groups, mirrors, anything. The first few times were messy. He stuttered. He forgot lines. He sweated bullets, but he kept showing up. And by the 10th week, his words flowed, his hands steadied. His eyes met the audience with fire because he didn't run from the discomfort. He built a life inside it. That's how you become strong. Not by waiting until you feel ready, but by facing what makes you tremble and doing it anyway. Discomfort introduces you to parts of yourself that comfort will never let you meet. You'll never know how resilient you are until life hits you hard and you decide to stand up with no applause. You'll never know how creative you are until resources run out and your back's against the wall. You'll never know how powerful your voice is until you speak with a shaky tone and a steady heart. Your potential is not found in convenience. It's found in the tension between who you are and who you're becoming. And tension always feels uncomfortable. But let me tell you something, pain births power. Every pressure you face is shaping something eternal in you. Diamonds are made under pressure. Gold is purified through fire. And your purpose, it's forged in adversity. So don't pray for ease. Pray for capacity. Pray to be stretched. Because when your life feels hard, it's not punishment, it's preparation. You have to start welcoming what scares you. Sign up for that class even if you think you'll fail. Say yes to that opportunity even if your hands shake. Ask that question even if your voice cracks. Because discomfort is a sign that you're alive, evolving, and entering a realm that your old self couldn't survive in. Every time you stretch beyond what's comfortable, you send a message to your mind: we are no longer living small. We are no longer hiding behind fear. We are no longer pretending that average is enough. There's a woman I knew who always dreamed of starting her own business, but she kept waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. Years passed. The dream remained a fantasy. One day she called me crying, saying she felt like time was slipping through her fingers. I told her, perfection is a lie. Comfort tells you to keep you stagnant. She finally decided to act. She started small. Scared and unsure, she launched her idea in the middle of uncertainty. And it didn't explode overnight, but she did. She became bold, strategic, resilient. Why? Because discomfort woke her up. It didn't feel good, but it grew her into someone who was finally ready. You don't need more talent. You need more tolerance for tension. You don't need a bigger platform. You need a bigger threshold for pain. Because the level of success you desire lies on the other side of everything that makes you nervous. And if you keep avoiding the stretch, you'll stay married to a life you've outgrown. So the next time you feel uncomfortable, don't run. Lean in. When the challenge shows up, say, welcome, I've been waiting for you. When the fear rises, whisper, good. That means I'm close to breakthrough. When the discomfort tightens its grip, remember, this is the resistance that builds the strength I've been praying for. Most people want transformation without tension. They want elevation without exposure. But you can't rise unless you're willing to be refined. And refinement only happens where comfort ends and courage begins. So stop looking for safe and start looking for stretch. Because the version of you that can handle your destiny only wakes up when you're uncomfortable. Move your body. Command your mind, move your body, command your mind. That's not just a quote, it's a law. Your body is not just flesh and bone, it is your first tool of transformation. When your body is lazy, your mind becomes foggy. When your posture slouches, your confidence slumps. When your movements are passive, your decisions become delayed. But when you rise, stretch, walk, run, lift. When you move, you send a signal to your brain that says, we are alive. We are in charge. We are not victims. We are victorious. Most people underestimate the power of motion. They think movement is just about physical health. But motion is medicine for the mind. Stagnant bodies produce stagnant thoughts. Inactive limbs breed inactive dreams. You can't expect to conquer the battlefield of the mind while you're treating your body like a prison. And here's what most people don't realize. When you move your body intentionally, even just a walk, your brain releases chemicals that sharpen focus, elevate mood, and increase clarity. Movement is a declaration. It's your way of saying, I refuse to be stuck. You ever notice when you're angry or sad, your body slouches, your shoulders drop, your breathing gets shallow? That's not coincidence. That's your body mirroring your thoughts. But the reverse is also true. If you pull your shoulders back, breathe deeply, stand tall, and move with energy, suddenly your mood shifts. Your thinking clears up. That's because your physiology drives your psychology. If you want to change the way you feel, change the way you move. Your posture is not just a position. It's a mindset with a spine. There was a young man I met who battled crippling self-doubt. He told me, I just can't seem to get motivated. I didn't give him a lecture. I told him, let's go for a run. Half a mile in, his breathing changed. His eyes lit up. By the time we finished, he had already started talking about goals again. Why? Because movement awakened him. His blood flowed. His brain turned on. The fog lifted. He wasn't waiting on motivation. He was waiting on motion. Your body is the chariot of your will. When it becomes sluggish, so does your spirit. That's why in moments of deep depression, even something as simple as getting out of bed can feel like war. But the moment you put your feet on the ground and take a single step, you've already won. That step isn't just physical, it's spiritual warfare. It says, today, I move forward even if my emotions scream backward. Think about the lion. When it walks, it doesn't just walk, it stalks. It owns the ground beneath it. Every step is deliberate. It knows its power. That's how you must move. Not rushed, not frantic, but controlled, purposeful. You command your mind by teaching your body to act even when feelings fail. Some days you won't feel powerful, but move like you are. Some mornings you won't feel inspired. Stretch anyway. Go for a walk anyway. Hit the gym anyway, because action produces alignment. You do not wait to feel good to move. You move to feel good. There's a woman I know who turned her entire life around by starting with a simple 5-minute walk every morning. That walk turned into 15 minutes, then it became a jog. Eventually it became a lifestyle. Her energy changed. Her clarity came back. She started showing up better at work, at home, in her relationships. And it all started with one decision to move, even when everything inside her said stay still. Movement is momentum. Even when you don't know exactly where you're going, motion gives you clarity. You can't steer a parked car. You can't adjust a sail on a boat that's anchored. But the moment you start moving, life meets you. Energy returns. Vision sharpens. It's like the universe says, I see you're serious now. Let's go. And let's not forget, your body holds trauma, stress, and pain. It stores every heartbreak, every disappointment, every memory. But through movement, you release what talk can't always touch. There's a reason people dance when they celebrate. There's a reason we pace when we think deeply. There's a reason prisoners walk laps in a cell to keep their sanity. Because motion is freedom. Motion is mental mastery. When you move your body, you're not just exercising. You're exercising old limitations, old fear, old stories. You're saying, this body is not a cage. It's a cathedral. So don't wait until the conditions are perfect. Don't wait until you feel like it. Get up, stretch, walk. Do 10 jumping jacks in your living room. Run up the stairs. Do push-ups, yoga, dance. Anything that tells your body, we are not frozen in fear. We are fueled by purpose. And in that movement, something divine is unlocked. The mind awakens, the emotions stabilize, the spirit begins to roar again. Because every time you move your body, you are declaring, I am not defeated, I am not lost, I am not done. And that declaration is more powerful than any motivational video, more healing than any book, more transformational than any seminar. Why? Because your own body becomes the stage where your comeback begins. Your movement becomes the sermon that preaches to your future. And in those steps, your mind begins to believe again, dream again, rise again. Reflect and recalibrate before you sleep. Your night determines your next move. Most people go to bed scrolling, escaping, complaining, or worrying. But your mind is not a garbage bin, it's a garden. And what you plant into it before you sleep will grow while you're unconscious. This is why you don't just fall asleep. You enter a space of alignment or confusion. You either recharge with clarity, or you toss and turn in chaos. Reflecting and recalibrating before you sleep is not a ritual of weakness. It's a ritual of dominion. You need to pause and process your day. Don't just survive through the hours, harvest them. What did you learn today? What tested your patience? What expanded your thinking? What triggered your insecurity? These are not just moments to forget. These are keys to your development. When you ask yourself the right questions at night, you give your soul a chance to answer with insight. Your mind replays, reprocesses, and reinforces the decisions you made in the day. If you went through the entire day anxious and frustrated, and then you collapse into bed without recalibration, you are teaching your subconscious that stress is your normal state. This is where most people lose power. They don't interrogate their thoughts before they sleep. They entertain toxic beliefs. They let negative conversations echo. They replay failures without pulling out the lessons. They lay in bed with open emotional wounds that never get disinfected by reflection. And so they wake up the next day with yesterday's dirt still under their nails. But you're not called to live like that. You are called to rule your atmosphere. Take 10 minutes before you sleep, just 10, to sit in stillness. Grab a notebook or just close your eyes and review your inner world. Ask yourself, where did I win today? Don't skip over this part. Acknowledge your progress. Maybe you didn't get everything done, but you showed up. You kept your temper in a tough conversation. You chose to say no when it was easier to people please. Celebrate the small wins, because small wins stacked daily become unstoppable momentum. Then ask yourself, where did I lose alignment today? Don't shame yourself. Study yourself. Did you react emotionally when you should have responded with wisdom? Did you procrastinate on something you know is tied to your purpose? Did you speak words that didn't match the character you're building? This is not about guilt. It's about growth. The moment you identify it, you strip it of its power over your tomorrow. You're not ignoring it. You're recalibrating it. You're saying, I see what happened, and I'll adjust before the next cycle. You know what reflection really is? It's spiritual leadership over your own soul. You can't lead others if you're always being led by your impulses. And you can't master your next season if you don't learn from this one. Your memory is not your enemy, it's your map. But you have to be intentional about how you read it. Don't just remember what hurt, remember what healed. Don't just remember who failed you, remember who stood by you. Don't just remember the mistake, remember the wisdom it taught you. I know people who say, I'm too tired at night to reflect. And I always say, you're too tired not to reflect, because unprocessed emotions pile up. And those piles become emotional landmines waiting to explode at the worst time. That's why people overreact to small things. They haven't been clearing the clutter nightly. One offense piles on another, one regret layers onto another, one insecurity builds on another until they're living in a fog. But when you reflect, you break that fog. You breathe again. You clear the air between who you were today and who you're becoming tomorrow. There's a woman I once mentored who struggled with anxiety every morning. She thought it was just random until I asked her to write down her thoughts every night before sleeping. After a week, she came back in tears and said, I didn't realize I was carrying so much judgment about myself to bed. Every night she lay down with shame, replaying what she didn't do, what she should have said, how she looked, how she failed. But once she began writing down even one thing she was proud of, one lesson she learned, and one thing she could improve, her morning shifted. She started waking up with clarity instead of chaos. That's not magic. That's mental discipline. Reflection is not weakness. It's strategy. It's how champions stay grounded. It's how visionaries sharpen their focus. It's how wise people avoid repeating unnecessary pain. Every night you skip this process, you forfeit the wisdom the day was trying to give you. Life is always speaking, but reflection is the only way to hear it clearly. And recalibration, don't skip that either. After reflection, you have to reset. You have to remind yourself of who you are. Say it out loud if you must. I am not the mistake I made. I am not the fear I felt. I am not the voice of my critics. I am who I'm becoming, and I'm closer than I've ever been. Speak identity over yourself. Say what's true, not just what you feel. Recalibration is the act of aligning your mindset back with your mission. It's how you don't just wake up the next day, you arrive with purpose. Your dreams are not random when you sleep. Your mind is still working. Why let it chew on fear when it can meditate on vision? Why let it replay failure when it can rehearse faith? Fill your last thoughts with clarity, gratitude, lessons, affirmations, plans. That's how you sleep like a lion, unbothered, focused, and ready for battle when the sun returns. So now you've heard it. 5 things that can reshape your life from the inside out. But here's the truth that separates the dreamers from the doers. Nothing changes until you decide to change it. Nothing shifts until you stand up and say, this cycle ends with me. You can read every book, watch every video, listen to every speaker. But until you activate the principles, nothing moves. Because principles don't work until you do. Don't you dare go back to the same passive rhythm of existence, letting life happen to you while you stand by hoping for better days. Hope is not a strategy. Wishing is not a weapon. Change is not found in comfort zones. It is forged in discipline. You can't keep blaming the environment when you're the architect of your atmosphere. You've been waiting on a breakthrough. But the truth is, the breakthrough has been waiting on you. You see, greatness is not about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most consistent. It's not about massive talent. It's about micro habits. The daily decisions that seem small now, but stack up into the destiny you dream about. Winners don't do extraordinary things occasionally. They do the ordinary things exceptionally well every single day. And I dare you. I dare you to move differently after this moment. I dare you to wake up with a fire in your belly that says, I will not repeat the past. I dare you to move your body when your feelings say stay still. I dare you to reflect when others are just reacting. I dare you to speak life when your atmosphere feels dead. Because every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're building a future that fear cannot touch. Don't just be busy. Be productive. Don't just move with intention. Don't just survive, design your survival into success. Because life will always challenge you. You will face setbacks. You will face betrayal. You will face tired days, lonely nights, and moments where quitting feels justified. But champions are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who never stay down. You better remind yourself of who you are. You were not born to blend in. You were not created to be average. You were designed with dominion. There is power inside of you that no paycheck, no title, no validation can give or take. It was there before anyone clapped for you, and it'll still be there when they stop. Every great comeback started with someone who decided, enough is enough. Someone who refused to live another day as a prisoner to fear, insecurity, or mediocrity. Someone who declared, I don't need perfect conditions. I am the condition that changes everything. And that someone can be you. You want peace, then command your body. You want strength, then move your body. You want vision, then protect your mind. You want elevation, then surround yourself with alignment. You want power, then live by principle, not emotion. Because the secret is not in the world system. The secret is in your daily system. Every legend you admire once stood at a crossroads, just like this. A moment where they could shrink or they could stand. A moment where the pain could make them bitter or it could make them better. And they chose to rise. So what will you do with your moment? Will you let it pass like all the others? Or will you mark this day as the one where everything turned? And let me tell you something, you don't need approval to be powerful. You don't need applause to walk in authority. Some of the greatest moves in history were made in silence, in shadows, by people who simply refused to stay small. So walk heavy, speak bold, love loud. Move like you were never meant to stay in one place, because you weren't. As the old saying goes, discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. And another one, success doesn't come from what you do occasionally, it comes from what you do consistently. Let these words tattoo themselves on your decisions. Etch them into your mornings. Wrap them around your actions. Your future is not waiting at the end of the month or the end of the year. It's built in what you do after this video ends. It's forged in your next decision. Will you delay your destiny again, or will you rise into it like the force of nature you are? Because you're not weak. You're not forgotten. You're not average. You're becoming unstoppable.